Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another video. My name is Tom. Thanks so much for joining me here today. It is incredibly dark out here. The day ran away from me. I was dealing with bad weather and winds, and there's still pretty high winds out here, so forgive any wind noise that you might hear in the video. I am out here in my driveway with my 2015 VW Jetta TDI, and today was its appointment to get the new hitch installed. And it actually went pretty well. It took about 3 hours to do. The guy was pretty knowledgeable, and I'll show some footage here of that process. There wasn't much. It wasn't really any conversations or anything to film, and a lot of it was just waiting in a waiting room. So I'll put some pictures in here and some footage that I shot, but I'm going to use my flashlight here to light up this installation. So there it is. It actually looks really, really nice. It looks to be powder coated, and let me come in a little closer here. And it appears to be mounted pretty nicely. The only thing I could say is when the hitch was on it, I stood on it, so it was able to hold my weight without any issue, and it didn't seem, flexible, or, I guess flexing, you would call it. And in the trunk here, he did have to leave the, I'm going to put a little bit more light on that. Right here in the corner, right there, is the bundle of wires for the trailer. And the reason he installed them into the trunk was for two reasons. One, he asked me how much I would be towing, or how often I would be towing. And I said, well, probably once or twice, just for moves or anything that needs it. So he opted to put the cables in here, so that way there's less chance of getting damaged from, being down there, being in the weather and stuff like that. So I think I just saw a flash of light. I might be wrong, but I wouldn't be surprised. The winds are pretty strong right now, and who knows, the power might go out. So I'm trying to do this as quickly as possible. But car drives great. Obviously the hitch doesn't really change anything, in terms of geometry on the vehicle. It doesn't add any weight. It doesn't reduce any weight. The hitch itself, I think, is only about 35 pounds in terms of package weight. But other than that, I think it looks pretty good. I might put something in there, like one of those hitch plugs that, either lights up or something else. I don't know. We'll have to see. Dutchie, come on over here, girl. Say hi to everybody. There she goes. And she just keeps on going. I'm going to come in here into the garage and kind of talk to you guys through the process. So that way it's not blowing wind out there. The process to get this done was relatively straightforward. You fill out, the basic form on U-Haul's website for wanting a hitch installed. And you tell them what your year, make, and model of vehicle you have, and then they kind of break down all the things that you need. It's kind of an a la carte list, and you can pick and choose what you want based on what your needs are. I selected everything because it just made sense to get this thing full serviced. And to be honest, it wasn't that expensive. It was only a couple $100. I think it was like $400 or $500 with installation. And I feel like this will give me, plenty of flexibility in terms of being able to tow stuff, getting stuff out of here. There's quite a few things that I'm going to need to take with me that the movers will not take. For example, the gas cans that I have diesel in, I have to siphon the diesel out of the mower and all that stuff. So there's quite a bit of stuff that I have to take with me. Also, any files or information or data that I can't lose, I'm going to have to put all those in a box and put them in my car and take them with me directly. Obviously, anything relating to the vehicle, the move, the houses. I say houses because I'm working on a second house right now. And anything else like that, I will need to obviously have with me and I can't risk going into the mover. So my thought was, let's get a hitch installed and tow a bunch of stuff with a trailer. It worked out for us when I installed the hitch on the RAV4 that my ex-wife took with her to Ohio, and it worked out really well for the cross-country move. We drove it 5 days across the country, no problems, and I intend to only drive this for about 10 hours from here to Pennsylvania with a trailer, and then if I ever need to trailer anything after that, it'll be a one-by-one case. So like I said, you go on their website, uhaul.com. You can also use their app if you're on an iOS device or an Android device. Get the app, create an account, sign in. You pay for it up front. Here's what's great. Anything that they, work with you on, whether it's the amount of time something took to install, or if an install was easier done than what their books say it would take, or what it would take to get it done, they'll credit you back. I got $158 back from the installation just because it took less time to do certain tasks of that a la carte list, and it works out pretty good. You pay up front and then you just get a receipt. They tell you how much is getting credited back, if any money is getting credited back, and you're on your way. In and out, I think it was about 3.5 hours. The guy was really knowledgeable, really good. I recommend the U-Haul off of Whitney Road in Spartanburg. If you're in the area, give them a shot. I don't think you'll have any complaints. At least I don't. Yeah, we'll see how this car does at the beginning of February when I have to tow a trailer with it. My guess is it'll be fine. They have a pretty standardized installation set for the hitches that they use, and from what I've heard, they're pretty bulletproof. Unless you do something stupid like you try to tow 5 tons with it, which you can't do. This vehicle has a max towing capability of 1 ton, so 2,000 pounds, and I think there's a 300 to 400 pound tongue limit. So the tongue is essentially the front of the trailer, and you just have to make sure you're not doing anything crazy with that either. So they do tell you that 60% of the trailer's weight has to be on the tongue. You can balance that out, and obviously don't overload your trailer. So 60% of total tow weight might be 100 pounds, depending on how much weight you're putting in there. And I'm not going to have that much. There's going to be a bit, but, I'm not going to go crazy. They do tell you that you can tow a 5x8 trailer with this thing. I don't know about that. Maybe the 4x8. It's a little skinnier, a little bit more aerodynamic, but I don't know. That's something I'm going to have to do a little bit of research on. My guess is the 4x8. They tell you can tow that with anything, with any car. But the guy told me a story of how somebody, towed a 5x8 trailer in with another 4-cylinder vehicle, and it worked just fine. And the concern about this car being a 6-speed manual versus a DSG type transmission that is automatic is irrelevant, really, because it's 6 to 1, half dozen to the other. And also, I shared my concern about, diesel engines as a whole for towing, and he said they use them in tractors. And you know what? Honestly, he's not wrong. Diesel engine, 3-cylinder. So, and that thing has a 3-point hitch on the back. So, I think we're good. We'll see. I'm pretty sure that it'll be a smooth ride. Like I said, it'll be just heavy enough to keep the trailer grounded, so it doesn't bounce around on the freeway. And I'll make sure that, everything is safe in terms of, chains and locking stuff down and whatnot. And my dog's being weird. She's drinking water off the driveway. It rained earlier, so it's probably clean, but who am I to stop a dog from drinking water? So anyway, that's it for this video. I think that, pretty much sums it up. And if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. Go down below in the comments. Hit like, subscribe if you enjoy these kinds of videos. And we'll continue with the stories as they unfold. Until then, have a good one. Have a good evening. And take care. Bye-bye.